Hey everybody, I'm TJ Majors, spotter of the 6 Cup car. I also had the 8 Xfinity car this weekend, and I did ARCA race. I ARCA race with the 73. Freddie.
Who drives a 73?
And he'll whoop your ass.
Who is he?
Andy Jankowski.
I don't know if Andy's whooping anybody's ass. He's
just
all
like
of 100 pounds soaking
Andy
wet.
who?
That's probably true. He wears a bandana, though.
What's his name?
So that
Jankowiak.
makes him
Jan
tough?
Kowiak.
Yeah. He's like a modified guy from Western New York. Freddie probably.
I've known his dad. His dad
yeah,
was
his
a
dad
long-time
was
modified
his
driver.
dad's a modified guy from back in the day.
Brett Griffin, I had the best of both worlds. I was at the racetrack on Sunday in Michigan, and then I was home to watch from my couch on Monday. So, Freddie, welcome back, buddy.
Thank you. Freddie Kraft, spotter Bubba Wallace, Chandler Smith this weekend. Obviously, before we move on, I just want to say thanks to everybody in this room especially, and all the amazing listeners we have out there that have shown my family some support over the last couple weeks. Obviously, lost my dad last Saturday. So that sucked, but I was glad to be back at the track this week, kind of get a chance to kind of clear my head and go back to work and get something else to focus on. Listen, I know, and a lot of people have reached out to both me and Brett about what you can do to donate money and this and that. I can't tell you how much we appreciate that. It's just not necessary, obviously. We put the T-shirts out. Tons of you supported that, so I appreciate that, and we're going to move forward from there. But what's up, Casey?
She also was out last week. I don't know if you know that.
I didn't know that.
I was.
I did actually. I
But
listened.
thank you, Freddie.
We thought she was pregnant. We're not going to lie.
She might be.
Anyways,
Oh. So
welcome
there's
back,
a
Freddie.
chance.
No, there's not a chance.
You said that last time.
Give me a mimosa
You know.
right now, and I'll tell you it. Freddie, we missed you, and
20, I was old enough to drive.
thank you for coming back. Hey, this episode is presented by our new sponsor, Birch Gold Group. Get a free info kit on protecting your IRA or 401k with gold by texting DBC to 989898. That's 989898. Don't forget. And yes,
I
Brett.
like gold. I am immediately going to text right now 989898.
That's a very easy number to remember, too.
Yeah.
It
Yes.
is. It's-
Please support our sponsor by
Yes.
texting
So what do I do? I've never done this, by the way.
phone lines are busy.
Let's do it right now.
No, no,
because
I'm
gonna do it right
three
now.
of us
Let's all do it together.
are-
Okay, doing it right now.
So I'm serious.
Oh, whoop, that's
So-
the
so
video.
You
I
just
go-
go to your phone,
Okay. Do
Text.
two. Yep. 989898.
989898
And then I type in the words
DBC.
DBC.
Letters. Just
Just
only
Yeah,
DBC.
that's not really a word.
DBC.
9898.
All right. I press send.
I already got a response.
Hey there. Thanks for being a fan. Birch Gold has shared this link with you to get free kit on gold. Hell yeah.
We getting gold, player.
Heck yeah.
I'm down for this.
Even the logo is on the link. You can't miss it.
If you love our show, I'm asking y'all a very sincere ask. Please do this. 989898. I can't talk. Text DBC. Get your free info kit on gold, as we all just did.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
anyway, thank you guys for jumping on board and being a big partner. We appreciate you.
Agreed. Well, it took over 20 hours, but Chris Buescher gets a win at Michigan. Back-to-back wins for RFK. How was the weekend?
I think you just count the hours to his last win. I mean, that'd probably be.
I know.
I mean, that's huge. Huge for Chris, company, everything.
Chris is your daddy right now.
Chris is on
Chris is
fire.
Brad's daddy.
That's
What?
however you want to say it.
Or
As
do,
long as
do
the
we say
company's
Herm
winning.
is TJ's
When's
daddy?
the last time Brad won
Yeah.
back-to-back races?
Couldn't tell you.
I mean, he's making Brad his
I don't know about that.
I'm not sure that's
Yeah,
how
I
to phrase
mean-
it, but
I wouldn't mention that if I was Chris in the contract negotiation.
Yeah.
I think you should in the debriefed today.
I think the trophy cases are probably a little lopsided still, but
and I would also say that Brad maybe has his hands full with a few other things on top of driving.
well, the
so.
good thing about it is both those races that Chris won are.
I
pretty-
love messing with TJ.
Well, no, they're both both cars were fast both weekends too. So
They were.
we could have been in the same position Chris was in, but we went.
Oh,
for
here
this-
we go.
Well, we had a point race, so Chris has a win. You got to win. Like Martin and them, they set themselves up for the last stage.
I hated the way we had to race yesterday.
Yeah, well, you
but
did the
we
same thing as
had
me.
to race the way we did. You know, we see this race turns into a race similar to what we see with plate races now, where it's all about how much fuel you have to put in your car on a pit stop.
Yep.
And we had to stay out and run long in each of these stages, and we did what we needed to do. We finished second in the first stage and fourth in the second stage. But because of that, our pit stop at the end of the second stage was probably 3 or 4 seconds longer than everybody else's. So now we went from running fourth, we come off pit road 24th. Because then on top of us having a long pit stop, guys are able to flip the stage and pit with 10 to go before the stage ends. And it sucks to have to race that way, but it's a necessary evil. And we finished 18th, but we had the 7th highest point total on the day of all the guys in the field. So it's unfortunate, but that's just how the way you have to race these races right now, especially if you're these guys around the cut line.
So Freddie is 15th in points with Bubba Wallace. Ty Gibbs 16th in points. Michael McDowell 17th in points. Daniel Suarez 18th in points. AJ Allmendinger 19th in points. It's really, really, really tight from 15th to 19th, right? With that said, Freddie, I don't think you're safe. I don't think you're safe I think you're in a really good position from a points perspective, but in 3 races, 3 of which are really wild cards, 2 road courses and a freaking plate race. You have
Look
a couple.
at those 3 names. Tell me they're not good at road courses.
Oh yeah, I mean yeah, absolutely. But I think looking at you're in an okay spot points wise. But we could easily see 2 winners that aren't locked in.
Yeah,
in these next 3 races, we could see 3, but I think reasonably we could see 2.
And we gave up. We had an opportunity yesterday and to put a stranglehold on that spot by if we could. Our car wasn't very good at the end. I don't know if something happened. Bubba just said it wasn't nowhere near the same as it was. We obviously had tremendous speed all day. The last stage, for whatever reason, the car got super free. If there was an issue, it is whatever it is. But some of the guys we raced drove back up into the top 5 and top 10. And if we could have done that, we would have gained another 10 to 15 points on that cut line and been 65 out. The biggest thing for me is we gapped 15th a lot. 15th to 16th a lot.
Yeah.
Because as you said, like with 16th place is not safe, especially with Daytona looming, because literally anybody can win there. You've got wildcard races coming up with the road courses, but literally anybody can win at Daytona, and you won't know it until the final straightaway coming to the checker. So
if Brad Keselowski finishes this race this weekend with a decent points day, he's now locked in, and so long as a new winner doesn't come, right? I mean, I think he's in a really good spot. I don't think you can catch Brad Keselowski.
No, it'd be tough for us. But on the same side, Bubba has done a really good job the last 2 weeks of. We were, I think, 3 or 4 weeks ago, we were +3 to the cut line. Now we're +58. So we've built that gap, and I don't think there's any secret that Bubba's he's not the best on road courses. But now what we've done is put ourselves in a position where we just have to go out and have a solid day. We can't have a miscue or crash and hand these guys points. We've got to make these guys chase us, because if we can go out and run, just say 15th or 20th, which Bubba's more than capable of doing, that's going to force these guys to have to go out to earn 90 to 100 points in the next couple of weeks. That's 45 points a race. That's basically top 5 both stages, top 5 in the race. I think as strong as your day was yesterday, you got 48 points. You know what I mean? So to get 50 points is a tall ask. So if we could just go out there and execute and make them guys catch us, I think we're in a good spot, and we just have to hope that there's no new winners in that point. And if there is, we could easily go out and win Daytona. Obviously, Bubba's very strong on road course. He is not very strong on road courses.
You've been drinking?
He is very strong on the plate races. So we'll see what that plays out. But right now, we kind of put ourselves back in a little bit of control of our own destiny of just go have a couple solid races at these road courses and just hope that we don't see a bunch of new winners in the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, and people need to keep in mind something here too. Bubba Wallace and Ty Gibbs are probably in the playoffs right now because Alex Bowman and Chase Elliott miss races. If those guys run a full schedule, a solid chance that they're going to be ahead of Bubba and Ty. So it's just like the race this weekend. There were guys that were had top 10 finishes that probably wouldn't have had Kyle Busch, William Byron, Chase Elliott, Alex Bowman. Those are really fast cars that fell out of the race. So, one man's mistake is you can capitalize on it, and you guys are doing that. But shout out to TJ. Having both cars in the playoff, that's going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
That sells sponsorship. That sells sponsorship.
That, and, there's I can look at the races, and there's 2 or 3 other races that we could have probably been won or had a shot at winning. We're in the ballpark for it. So
I want to ask you guys something, because I thought about this while I was sitting on a tarmac for 2 hours in Charlotte on Sunday night after I landed. So rain delays, 5-7 years ago, we'd leave the racetrack, we'd go to Hooters, we'd have a couple beers, eat chicken wings, and crash and go to the racetrack next morning. Now, with all of the S&T data and everything you guys have, drivers crew chiefs and spotters are having to leave the racetrack and go study. It's a different freaking world right now, right?
Oh, it's way different. Yeah, you're always going back to look to see where you can get better. It's just you've already got a playbook now for how the day is going and what people are doing, and you go and look at it. I mean, this is stuff that you kind of get on the fly as the race is going on, but this is stuff you go look at after the race and be like, yeah, this is how we're getting beat. Now you got a night to look at it. So you go there and, okay, Truex can obviously run turns 1 and 2 about wide open. I mean, he was stupid fast, but so you know where your weak spots are, and it gives Brad a chance to go look at how guys are making passes, where they're timing their runs at more, and then obviously I'm sure Freddie probably talked to Bubba at some point as well, but you talk to him about restarts, what you saw, where the moves are happening, what's possible, what's not possible, where you don't want to be. And
so is it fair to say you're working harder now than you ever have as a spotter?
Oh, way, 100%.
So I'm going to ask you a question, put you on the spot. Jeff Burton made the comment with about 20 to go yesterday that I don't know that the spotter today is as important as he's been in the past as it pertained to a run that Martin Truex was getting on Buescher, and Buescher kind of taking advantage of that run. And he's basically insinuating that the camera is so good that the spotter isn't as important. What do you guys say to that?
That's fine for one car, but I mean, what's happening? You can tell me that driver's going to – I don't want my driver looking in the mirror all the way through the corner. I want him focusing on what's going out front and hearing the words. So I can tell you this, I don't think my driver would agree with that, as much info as he wants. I don't think my previous driver wanted as much or even more than I could give. Even Dale Jr. evolved into that. Dale Jr. used to be the old school, not bare minimum, but you gave him some info to tell me more. And I'm not saying the cameras aren't good, but, I mean, I'd rather not look in my mirror and focus out front.
You can't go forward looking backwards.
Yeah, and what you can't see is what's happening behind that guy. Like, I can tell you right now, when a guy comes off the corner and gets, pushes a guy, they're flying. And it's nice to know, if they're tight, the driver can prepare for that run. He doesn't know what's going on behind there. I mean, I'm working more now than I ever have as a spotter. Just studying lines, studying things, looking at runs, where this is happening, why this is happening, how to defend it. What's the best place to defend? What's the best? How can you run the most optimal race possible?
It's a ridiculous statement. I mean, our job encompasses so much more than what is just going on behind us, that to say that our job is easier now because of these cameras is ridiculous. Because I look down, let's take a certain car, for example, the 21 car, who just happens to be Jeff Burton's son. Tyler Green has SMT on an iPad mounted to the rail in front of him every lap of every race this year. And he is helping Harrison get around that track, feeding him information about what to do with the throttle, what to do with the brake pedal, how his steering input is, what line he's running. If I'm Tyler Green and I hear my driver's dad say this on the radio, on the national TV broadcast, the next time Harrison asks me for help, I'm going to tell him, look at his camera. Like, see what that does for you.
Another thing is, too, with this car and the same gearing, the restarts are insane. So what that camera also doesn't show you is how tight that guy is on your door, how many cars are even over there, and stuff like that. You get to turn one, how do you know if you're 4 wide?
I
how do you know?
think he took that statement as literal. I mean, I get his point as well, meaning the technology has helped a ton. So I don't think
Casey, he said our jobs are not as important as they used to be. That's what he said. I can't take his words back. I'm not making it up for him. He said it on national television.
What's accurate is the technology is really cool. Like, knowing
what
they're doing with the technology, knowing
we
how
race
that
closer
changes
together
your
now.
job.
We race closer together now than we ever have. And to me, there's a lot more being transmitted over these radios than there was 15 years ago.
I love Jeff Burton. I spotted for him for 3 years, and he's wrong. He's wrong. It's simple.
Yeah, I mean, there's no other. I mean, it is what it is. It's just, there's safety aspects of what's going on in front of us. There's the line aspects of, the boxes is feeding us. If we're not watching SMT ourselves, the box is feeding us SMT data to relay to the driver.
If you would have put that camera in the car 20 years ago when he was driving, I'm sure it would have been great and easy, because there wasn't, everything to me was even spread out more. So, and easier to, there was more give and take and stuff like that. But now we're 4 wide on restarts. Guys are linking up. I mean, honestly, restarts in Michigan are even harder now because guys have figured out to push. And you push until you get, and then they break off into one, and then you're, it's just 2x2 here. Then all of a sudden, 2 inside, 1 outside. Then everything breaks loose, and that camera doesn't tell you that stuff
that's
either.
easy now because they got a camera.
One thing on the new technology these days in this next gen car, I saw an interesting post from Xfinity Racing account where it says the only drivers with back-to-back wins in the next gen era are Harvick, Byron, and Chris Buescher, which is insane to think how many races we've had.
Competition's tough.
I mean, it's only been a season and a half, right? And it's not like it's a giant sample size.
Fair, but back in the
we had
day,
guys
we
winning
had
10 races a year. And we don't
I
see
get
that
it, but
anymore.
I'm just saying. But a lot. I mean, how many times back-to-back has always been rare.
And two of those,
for anything.
Yeah.
And two of those drivers are Ford drivers, which earlier this season we were talking about. Just a few races ago we were talking about how Ford was really struggling. So it is interesting when you put into perspective how much Ford has improved as well. Like they're really on it compared to earlier this year.
I don't know if you saw it, but I saw a statement Brad made that this is a result of stuff that was happening late last year, earlier this year. Like this is like the speed now is from working hard then, and you can't ever quit. It doesn't, things evolve and take time to go into fruition or and make speed. But to go from what a part I like about it is both cars are fast at the same places, and I think Brad and Chris work really well with each other. On the track, they know when to help each other. They know when it's time to race. Like Richmond, we were holding Chris off for the lead, but it was a good battle. You know what I mean? But it's just cool to see both, and we two different types of tracks too. We go from a short track to arguably one of the bigger tracks we go to, minus it being a super speedway. So
every time we make up a word on here, can we do something fun like fruition? I don't think is that a word.
What's
Fruition? He said fruition.
Same thing. That's like you trying to say.
I say words all the time on here that aren't words. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
What can we do to celebrate making up words?
I mean,
Kligerman, Pockrass. I mean, we got a lot. We got our own.
That one still sticks. They say that the track all the time, for the record.
Fruition.
I mean, honestly,
Fruition.
we should celebrate
I don't
every
think it's a
time.
word. There's a T in there.
Every time
See?
Freddie says axe, because that is
axe is a word.
Axe is a word.
Axe is absolutely a word.
instead of ask.
I had an axe in my house yesterday chopping wood. I axe all the time.
Oh, well, on that note, I would love to hear conversations going on with 2311 and their pit crew. Freddie, anything you want to add to Tyler's frustration?
What did he say?
He was going
I couldn't
off.
really understand it because it was bleeped
Listen,
out.
Tyler's
Here's-
very mellow. This
He
was
is.
kind of rare.
Here's where I'm at with this, and
It's not only Tyler though. 2311
Well,
in general.
Yeah, fair.
but here's one of the takeaways I came away from yesterday with. And listen, I love Tyler. Tyler is a good friend of mine. But I have to be honest on here. I didn't love the blow up yesterday on the pit crew. Like, listen, I know it's hot. I know you're hot. You're in the heat of the moment. You feel like you come off pit road and you're in position to win the race. And the wheel's loose. Okay. And it was a slow pit stop. And the thing that gets me about it is they were having to wait on fuel a little bit. So you're not in as big a rush if you've got an extra second or two that you're going to have to wait on fuel no matter what. But just aside from that, we talked about it here last couple weeks ago, and the changer made a mistake. Nobody feels worse about it than he does. And then Tyler gets on there and lets him have it. But we're only 1 week, removed.
How many times has Tyler hit the wall this year?
Well, I was
We're
gonna
only
say,
1 week removed from him being in contention at Richmond, and
yeah.
he drives over the box. And nobody got on the radio and cussed him out. So I know, and this is outside of Tyler's personality. Like, this is not something
Yes,
I
it's
typically
rare.
see out of Tyler. But you've got to be. We talk about situational awareness. It's a mistake, and it is what it is. I'd rather see these guys be more of a leader in this time than just berate the guy. But it is what it is, and Tyler, I'm sure, probably doesn't love the fact that happened. And listen, as far as our pit crews and stuff, and us, like we have tons of speed. Both cars are very fast. Execution has been lacking, and there's no secret about that. We've got to do a better job, especially if we can get both of these cars. Tyler's already in the playoffs. We have to earn our way in the next couple weeks. But if we're going to have any shot at contending to move through these rounds, we can't have these mistakes. And we can't, Tyler's probably lost 2 or 3 races now because of a loose wheel or because of mistakes he made. So, and we've been in the same place. We've cost ourselves multiple good finishes over, bad pit stops or Bubba making mistakes, or I'm sure I made mistakes. Like, we have to clean it up, and I'm sure we will. But I just didn't love that yesterday, that blow up when here we are a week away from you making a mistake to cost you guys a race.
And Saturday night, Freddie, myself, and Nick, who spots for Tyler, we were having dinner. Where were we at? Buffalo Wild Wings. And I literally said to Nick, I'm like, man, I believe this. I think Tyler is a top 3 or 4 driver in the series right now. I think he's that freaking talented and that good. And he's sitting on 1 win, and he could be sitting on 5 or 6. He's not, because week in and week out, they make mistakes. They never, ever execute from beginning to end. Inside of the car, outside of the car, on pit stops, on whatever reason. If they do that, this team can win a championship. It's going to be hard because he doesn't have a ton of those playoff points, because he doesn't have a ton of wins like some of these guys have. But I truly believe he's the best, one of the best in the cockpit right now. But they, for whatever reason, they cannot execute. It's frustrating to watch if you are a Tyler Reddick fan, and I am.
Yeah, and, to that point, that we saw that Sunday, Saturday we saw a very similar situation with one of our buddies whose fire suit's hanging behind you that drove our DBC car. Man, the 17 still
giving it away.
They're the same thing. They're just giving races away, making mistakes. The one I didn't understand, like watching when he gets turned into his box by Ty. I don't know if you watched that.
Yeah.
I don't know if he didn't find his box, but he's only 2 or 3 away from his stall, and he's still kind of in the outside lane. Like I didn't understand. He's kind of having to go around the 98 pit crew a little bit, but it just seemed to me like he checked up and wasn't really where he needed to be, and Ty runs him over and turns him, which, if you rear end somebody, I guess it's your fault.
It's your fault.
At the same time, and then they battle all the way back from that, get back up in position to win the race again, and then they have an over-the-wall too soon penalty, and that just kills their day. But, it's unfortunate. They're the same thing, though. I feel like the 7 and the 20 have been the 2 consistently fastest cars on the racetrack, and probably the ones I would think battle for a championship. But to your point, Sheldon Hunter's got a ton more playoff points right now because the 7 can't figure out how to get out of its own way at the end of these races.
Yeah, JRM's fast again. They went through that part last year where they were stupid fast. They're stupid fast again.
They're getting there. Yeah, finding more speed for sure.
I'll tell you one thing we had this week was another phenomenal crowd. I hated the fact that it got rained out, but
even Monday, it was still impressive for being a weekday.
And raining, because there's one thing, like when we left the track on Sunday, a lot of people were saying tomorrow's a wash. We're coming back on Tuesday to race. And, it was raining all Tuesday morning. The forecast looked grim. So if you're making that decision, you're probably going to leave Sunday night because you're staying. You're talking about staying for 2 days, maybe
a whole day in the rain.
That was reported the largest crowd since 2015.
I mean, it looked like it. It was full. Me and Brett, when we were at Buffalo Wild Wings, we had the pleasure of meeting the best-looking DBC fan I've ever met in my life, Fabio. Do you remember him?
Oh, yeah, Fabio.
A guy.
Yeah.
It was a guy, yes. Yes.
Yeah, Fabio was in there.
Yeah, he listens every week. He was a little timid to come up to Brett. Brett scares people, apparently.
A Canadian guy came over right before that. You hadn't got there yet. And, I love when fans come say hello.
But this guy, he looked like Fabio. So he
did look just like Fabio.
Officially the best-looking DBC fan we've ever seen.
Yeah,
man. Where was I? How about that ultimate experience we have coming up?
I'm going to tell you what, there ain't many seats left. You better jump on them if you want them because it's almost sold out. So Bristol's going to be a lot of fun.
Night race at Bristol. That's an ultimate experience.
Sweet.
Doesn't get any better.
Parking passes, food, booze.
Brett, are you going?
You get to meet us 3. Yeah, I'm going.
Casey, you going?
I haven't been invited yet.
Okay, well, sorry about it. Casey's not going.
Link is dirtymomedia.com/ultimate experience. Just a few left. Gotta hurry up.
Freddie, have you ever invested in precious metals before?
No, I have not.
Well, we're going to start.
Yeah, we're going to start. We've already started. We sent a text to 989898 to start this show off.
Well, I'm all about investing, man. I got 3 kids. I got to go to college. I'm 48 years old. I really don't want to work after I'm 50, so we're going to see how this text message changes my life.
Let's get you into more specifics of how our sponsor, Birch Gold Group, can help you protect and diversify your retirement savings with physical precious metals.
What are all the benefits for looking at precious metals, Freddie?
First of all, you got security because precious metals are real, tangible assets that their performance doesn't follow generic economic trends in lockstep. Protection, diversification, and privacy, Brett. These medals are in your possession and do not need to be accounted for by any institutions.
What about growth, man? I'm all about growth with my retirement planning.
Yeah, I mean, they're finite. They have unique growth potential, and many analysts believe today's prices are a bargain.
That's awesome. With an A+ rating, with a Better Business Bureau, you're in good hands with Birch Gold.
It costs nothing to become educated, and that's all we're encouraging you to do. To get your free info kit, text DBC to the number 989898. There's no obligation. Just fill out the brief form, and they'll send you all the information you need to get educated on precious metals. That's DBC to 989898.
Prior to recording the show, there's been some news. We're not too sure of what's happening, but obviously want to share where we are. You know, being an opinion-based show, we want to provide as much information as possible, but we want to also talk about what's going on. So,
Opinion? Spew facts.
Facts.
We a fact-based show, ain't we? Holla.
Yes.
right.
Absolutely.
Somewhere in the middle there.
Yeah.
Somewhere in the middle.
Somewhere in the middle.
All right. So, Brett, you want to take us through what's happening?
So I have a question for Brett.
What's happening? What are we talking about?
So
What's that
Noah
happening?
Gragson was suspended Sunday morning or Saturday morning.
Sure.
Yeah,
I don't
something like
remember.
that.
This
One of them-
weekend.
one of them days.
He was suspended originally by his race team, Legacy Motor Club, then followed that up with getting suspended from NASCAR indefinitely. Now, today, we see reports from Jordan Bianchi that Noah and Legacy Motorsports have parted ways. Mike Rockenfeller is going to be in the car for the next 2 weeks. Then that was countered with Jim Utter saying that, they have not confirmed that Noah's out of the car. So it's going back and forth of Noah's out, Noah's not out. Brett, I know you have written many driver contracts in your day. Take us through the steps. If Legacy Motor Club wanted to fire Noah Gragson, what kind of steps do they? Obviously, we're talking about here the reasoning behind this is probably if they were to fire him, or just the fact that they suspended him is probably due to some kind of morality clause in his contract. Correct?
Yeah. So they got to have grounds to suspend him, right? And those grounds have to exist within his contract. So if he is suspended for liking a certain social media post, which we know is the case, then that is absolutely true. He has, in their opinion, done something that breaches the morality clause in his contract, which reads something along the lines of he cannot represent the team and or its sponsors in a negative light. Clearly what he did on social media, they are saying that is the case. Now, there's two ways that they can fire him. One of them is also along the morality clause route. And look, man, morality clauses are weird. It may specifically say you cannot get a DUI. It may say you cannot have a child out of wedlock, and back in the day, those things were in there. Or it can be very, very vague, right? I would imagine that this particular – listen, you guys work for teams. How many times have you had to sign a social media clause agreement? Yeah. I've had to sign them. And I promise you there's now, terminology in these driver contracts that operates around those same lines. But there's also a clause in there that I've not seen Noah's contract, but there are clauses in existing driver contracts that if you miss a certain amount of races, no matter why, that they also can terminate the contract. It doesn't mean they have to terminate it, but if you're Chase Elliott and you miss 6 weeks because you broke your leg, the team owns the right to terminate your contract because you're not able to show up for work. It doesn't matter why. The fact of the matter is you're not showing up for work. We can fire you. It doesn't mean they will. So obviously we know now he's out of the car for at least 3 weeks. He was suspended for Michigan, and then now you've got the next 2 coming up with this road course guy, right? So it's a very sticky situation. But when you look at a driver, and I said this to a media member this morning, you guys see a driver, right? I see a driver, a fan club manager, a business manager, a PR person, a pilot, a bus driver. I could keep going, an accountant. There's a lot of people that it takes to support a guy when he makes it to the Cup Series. It's just the way it is. Look at Denny Hamlin. He has a social media manager that follows him around everywhere, right? So when you guys look at a driver, and people are on complete polar opposite sides of this argument, he shouldn't be suspended or fired, and he should be suspended or fired. There's not really a lot of middle ground with our fan base on this particular topic, right? But for me, it's very unfortunate for Noah. On a personal side, I don't know of a driver that makes more time for fans than what he does. On a professional side, he's a hell of a race car driver. Did he make a mistake? Absolutely. he made a mistake. Can he come back from that mistake? I hope he can, because I don't think the mistake warrants losing your entire career over. But you have to realize when you have a boss, and there's multiple bosses over there. Richard Petty's name is tied to this thing. Jimmy Johnson's name is tied to this thing. Maury's name is tied to this thing. Chevrolet's name is tied to this. All the different sponsors that are there. It only takes a couple people to raise their hand at the table and say, he doesn't belong here, and he's out. I personally think there's more to this story than what we know. I personally think there's more motivation to this story than what we know. But if he's out, they will have grounds, contractually in their mind to do that. But when you see, Jordan report that he's out, and you say Utter report that he's not, well, they can't confirm that he's out until the paperwork has been drawn up, the paperwork has been executed, and the paperwork has been delivered to Noah Gragson. Yeah. And if he's out, clearly that hasn't happened as of 1:00 on Tuesday.
Yeah, I think that I think the end of this story is Noah Gragson's going to be out at Legacy Motor Club. That's just obviously we're going off of reporting that's going on. Obviously, rumors flying around everywhere.
Listen, how many times has Jordan been wrong?
Not often. And Jordan can't be wrong. I mean, not in something like this when you're talking about contractual stuff, and there's a lot of people that could come after Jordan. But listen, I got to be honest. We've been hearing rumors for the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe more, that Noah was going to be out anyway because there's a possible Toyota Xfinity driver that's lighting the world on fire. And by the way, this team's going to Toyota next year that may be taking that seat no matter what, just based on the performance that this 42 cars had this year. And
Martin Truex coming back made that more likely.
Yes, yeah. When you hear that, I was literally reading an article from somebody and in the car, and it's talking about, Martin Truex may or may not come back, but they have time to make a decision on that because you have a guy like, we can name him John Hunter's waiting in the wings. He's up to whatever it is, 4 or 5 Xfinity wins this year, probably the favorite to win the championship, had a stellar year last year. He's sitting there, so Martin can take his time with this decision because here's your guy. Either he goes into 19 or he doesn't, Now, Martin comes back to 19. You're looking for a home for John Hunter. Is he going to go back to Xfinity, or you're going to have this second opportunity at Toyota maybe, to be a teammate to Eric Jones? So we've been hearing those rumors for a couple weeks now. And then to your point, this is possibly a way out for Legacy. I don't know obviously what Noah's contract looks like, but if you're looking for a way to get rid of a guy because you want to bring this other guy in, he might have handed it to you on a silver platter when he makes this mistake. And it's unfortunate because, like you said, I've known Noah for a while. I consider him a friend as well. We've been harsh on him on this show. He came on here and kind of, took the brunt of that and had some fun with us. So I really hope the best for him. But, sometimes, you got to learn from mistakes, and this is going to be a hard one for him to learn from.
We all three agree. I don't want to speak for TJ because he got nodded yet. This is a mistake on his part.
100%.
Should it be a career-ending mistake? Not in my mind. He's 25 years old. I hope he was being reckless on social media and wasn't really realizing what he was liking. But nonetheless, this is a big enough mistake to where Legacy. Listen, do I think Noah Gragson should be suspended by Legacy Motor Club? I don't know because I don't know everything that they know. But they did what's best for their company. Did I think NASCAR should hang the word indefinitely on the statement of, we're suspending Noah Gragson indefinitely? I hated the word indefinitely because to me, all that he needs to do is go through sensitivity training, get reinstated. How long is that process? Because that's how long he should have been suspended. He's suspended 3 weeks or whenever he undergoes sensitivity. The word indefinitely, I was like, man, that's an awful big word for this particular offense. But should he be suspended to start with? That's totally up to Legacy. And obviously they thought it did, TJ.
Yeah, it's a very unfortunate situation. I don't know if there's I think Legacy's doing it, handling it how they should. It's just a tough situation. Hopefully it can it sounds like I agree with Freddie. I think they end up moving with the rumors that are all going around. I think they end up moving on.
People need to realize Legacy didn't ask to be put in this situation.
No.
Noah put him in this situation.
Yeah, for sure.
And listen, on the Noah side of things, what the thing that's going to determine where Noah goes from here is his sponsors, because he has a line of sponsors that travels with him, from JRM. They went over, and some of them came with him to Legacy. If those sponsors stand behind Noah and still continue to support him, he's going to have a home somewhere. You know, he's going to have enough money to bring to teams that make him an attractive piece because, to your point, he's still a very talented race car driver. He made a mistake. You know, we've seen this not that long ago with the guy that came back and won a championship. Not that I'm comparing skill levels of Noah Gragson and Kyle Larson. Kyle made a mistake. He did the best he could to rectify that mistake and came back stronger. And that's what Noah's got to kind of baseline off of and go with there and just hope that his sponsors kind of rally behind him.
I don't think there's a cup ride for him, though.
I mean, I'm not saying right now, but there, you know, there's somebody, something. This can't be the end of his career. It would be, you know. But listen, to that point, if these sponsors back away and they say, "Hey, we don't want any part of this either," there's a good chance you don't see him again. You know, and it's as hard as that is to hear or say. Like that's the business of this sport. Kyle Larson can come back. Kyle Larson took that year off and went and won 3,000 dirt races and made himself so attractive that you couldn't pass up on him. This Noah, you know, Noah's going to have some money behind him to get any kind of opportunity, I think.
I just don't. I mean, when I look at Justin Haley leaving Colleague Racing and going to, you know, Rick Ware Racing, okay, that move, you're like, man, why? Well, where else is he going to go? Like, I mean, when you look at the series in general right now, there are 2 cars that are open that we think are good cars, the 31 and the 10. Well, Noah ain't getting either one of those.
What about Xfinity?
Xfinity, there's tons of opportunity, and the seats, the musical chairs hadn't started yet.
He's proved
but I
himself.
promise you, there's not a Cup driver in the Cup garage that wakes up in the morning saying, "I want to go be an Xfinity driver again."
No.
Guess we'll find out. It is time for Spot On, Spot Off, presented by our friends at Money Lion.
Man, we appreciate Moneyline jumping on board to partner with us for this segment. Freddie, I know you've heard of them. They're a big partner at 2311, right?
Yeah, besides being a partner of ours at DBC here, they are the official digital finance partner of my other job, spotting for Bubba Wallace at 2311 Racing. Listen, they are great people. I see them at the racetrack all the time. We're on the car this week, I think, in Indianapolis, if I'm correct. I think so. So, looking forward to that. Their paint schemes are always phenomenal. I love that color green that they have because it's very easy to pick out of the crowd.
Pops.
So I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to getting to see them this week. But, yeah, always have a lot of fun with the Moneyline people.
Yeah, we always appreciate how they are trying to help our listeners get free money. Everybody loves free money, Brett. So
I do.
Just download the Moneyline mobile finance app today and use promo code $DirtyMo. Set up a direct deposit, and you can get up to $55 on them. That's a pretty good deal, if I say so myself.
That is.
I mean, I could certainly use it, and I'm sure Chad would agree. So don't forget, use promo code $DirtyMo and earn up to $55. Now, let's move on to our first topic. Hard racing combined with cars on edge ends the day for multiple drivers, including Chase Elliott, Kyle Busch, and William Byron. Spot on, spot off, Brett.
Spot on. I thought the racing, especially on day one, was phenomenal. When you see guys of this caliber failing to maintain the control of their race car, man, I'm here for it. It tells me that the combination was right with the tire and that there was some, obviously good racing going on. A little bit disappointed at the end of the race. I felt like Martin was a lot faster than Buescher. He ran him down multiple times. Chris did a phenomenal job of putting Martin in position where Martin was getting loose and damn near wrecking. So a little bit disappointed that the faster driver, faster car wasn't able to overtake the car in front of them. I still think there's gains to be made, but overall, spot on. Phenomenal race for Michigan. Listen, I remember going there in, I think, 99, and it felt like Dale Jarrett lapped the field. And we didn't have a freaking caution, and it was absolutely miserable. And so, man, this kind of racing, TJ, I thought was thebomb.com.
I thought it was good racing. At least he could get side by side with him. And that's saying – I think that's better than what it has been in the past where you couldn't even get side by side the guy. I mean, here the track's widening out a little bit, more so than it has a handful of years ago. Truex obviously had the better car, but, Christopher had the preferred line. And, Chris's car was pretty fast as well, so that makes it it's tough. It was tough to pass. You had to time stuff right. I knew when we were behind Freddie one time, Freddie's car got down the straightaway, and he got jammed up behind the 99 or something one time, and we got a little bit of a run on him, and Brad was able to side draft him and complete the pass. But very tough to pass, but at least you can get there. I mean, this is better than Kansas a handful of years ago. the 4 car was 4/10 faster lap than us, and he couldn't crack the plane of our bumper. Here these guys are side by side down the front stretch, and it's a good race. I mean, these guys are. I don't think we give enough credit for how good these drivers really are. They're literally racing 5-6 inches apart in the corners, trying to get every bit of air they can and controlling their cars for the most part. Obviously, some guys lost it, but there should be some punishment to pay for stepping over the edge, I think. I mean, if you step over the line, you shouldn't just get a free pass, right? I mean, there's got to be some punishment for that stuff, and that's what happened. And not that I enjoy seeing wrecks, but I like seeing guys be on the edge, and when they overstep it, there's a price to pay. So thought the racing was good, super fast. Michigan, used to put on some of the best races, and they repaved it, and it kind of went away a little bit, but it's kind of creeping back that way a little bit. You got guys all over the track, not all the way to the wall quite yet, but it seems like we're getting closer and closer every year we go back. Yeah,
I think these wrecks are just a product of how hard it was to pass. You see guys having to take chances because it was, if you tried to complete a pass, to TJ's point, how they got around us, Bubba kind of tried to drive into 3 deep to get a position on the 99. The 99 kind of blocked us off, and Bubba had to crack throttle, and that gave the 6 all the momentum he needed to get around us. And luckily the 6 was the only one back there, because if you tried to complete a pass and there was a line of guys behind you and you got stuck on the bottom, that whole line was going by until you were able to get back up. So, these guys they're getting runs and they're taking chances that they normally wouldn't take, but they have to take them. And you've seen that's what happened with Kyle, and the one thing
Christopher Bell.
Yeah, Bell, Byron,
But those are big names to be running out of talent.
I mean, one thing I wanted to mention on here, I love this guy, but Christopher Bell spins out a lot. For a guy that runs dirt, he spins out a lot. And Kyle Busch this year seems like he's either winning the race or wrecking. And it's early usually.
Kyle's been like that though. He's been on. He spun out a lot, came back and won. There's been plenty of times I've seen Kyle spin down the front stretch and be like, "Oh, he's done." Then here he is leading the race 50 laps later.
Yeah. And you just saw that. I mean, the one that the thing that I thought was interesting was, the reason why Kyle spun out, he kind of drives off into one, and Blaney races the shit out of him up top, and kind of puts Kyle in a bad spot where Kyle has to wreck. And Kyle got out afterwards and said, he felt like back in the day, guys would let each other have that. You can't do that now. But
that's
Blaney,
been gone for a while.
Yeah, but Blaney didn't really learn his lesson from that one, because then he did the same thing to LaJoie. Right before the yellow came, or the red came out for the rain, and you see them arguing on pit road, they almost wrecked each other in 3 and 4. Just same thing, Blaney racing on the right side of LaJoie. But to that point, you have to do that now, because that's just the way. You have to take every inch. You have to, because you can't run side by side here. You can't just let somebody go, because no matter, back in the day, these guys would let each other go because they knew if their car was good enough, they could just drive back up to him and go back by him.
Yep.
And now that's not possible anymore. So I feel like I'm talking to myself, because these 2 idiots are on their phones.
Well, I'm trying to find how many DNFs he's got.
I'm listening, Freddie.
I just thought it was funny.
I'm literally looking for how many DNFs he's got.
What'd you say, Freddie?
Find it.
But that's just what this product lends itself to. You can't give an inch anymore, because you're never going to get it back.
No.
Well,
Why don't they have DNFs on Racing Reference?
You know what?
Epic fail.
What racing he's talking
look it
about?
up. What are you looking
He's
for?
talking about the racing that, to me, that Jeff Burton was talking about.
Kyle Busch DNFs.
If you run a guy down, your car's faster. Those guys were like, okay, well, here you go. We didn't have stage breaks or any of that stuff. They wanted to work on their cars. You know what I mean? And it was just a gentleman's agreement. Well, that's been kind of gone for, at places like this. I mean, you might get it at a short track at a Martinsville. You're clear by 10 out front, 10 out back, and you run me down. It doesn't make any sense for me to block, because you're going to just move me out of the way.
Yeah.
But, at this place right here.
You could block forever.
Yeah.
We held off. I mean, Martin was so fast. Martin was
Stupid.
ridiculously fast.
I know. He ran us down 2 laps for the stage 2 deal. Yeah. Nothing.
And then, we went green on that the go back green yesterday. We made a 3-wide move when the 2 leaders got side by side, and then we were able to hold them off for 10 or 15 laps when we should have never been able to.
Yeah.
If Bubba doesn't, Bubba got loose one time in front of him, had to break momentum. If that doesn't happen, I don't know that he ever gets around us. So, that's just a product of racing. And I know it was probably a lot easier back in the day when everybody just kind of gave each other room and that. But listen, now you're gonna have to earn your money, because everybody's racing every lap like it's the last one, especially at these places, the 1.5 or 2 mile racetracks.
Well, let's move on to that topic. You mentioned Ryan Blaney, Corey LaJoie incident, and they had words during that rain delay. Do you feel like Blaney's frustration is justified?
I think that.
Can we skip ahead to the calls
and
see if there's another?
I think that, and my dad taught me this a long time ago when I first started racing, because when I first started racing, actually I always sucked, but I sucked a little bit less when I was done. But like when I first started, I would just get out of everybody's way. I was my deal. I would start in the back. They'd come around and lap me. I'd just get out of the way. And my dad pulled me aside and said, stop doing that. He said, obviously give them room, race with respect, but if you just get out of the way, they're always going to expect you to get out of their way. And I think you see a little bit of that here with Corey and Ryan, because Corey is pretty respectful when he's having a bad day. But when Corey's having a good day or a decent day, he's going to race his ass off. And
as he should.
And as he should. And he takes an opportunity here to make a move. And listen, the reason why they almost wrecked is because Ryan gets on his right side and Corey chases it up into him. So I don't think Ryan's justified. And he did the same thing to Kyle, and Kyle wrecked. So Ryan, if he doesn't want these scenarios to play out this way, he's got to be a little more respectful in the car himself, because this is what you're asking for. You're getting on this guy's door to help yourself, but you're hurting him, and in turn, you may cost yourself more than you want.
Corey got remember the first time we were in Atlanta on the new deal? I mean, Corey got run up into the vents.
Yeah.
I was just for a win, but still, I mean, that's just how you race.
Did you think Blaney's frustrations were justified?
I mean, nobody likes being on that side of it. I mean, it was just how that. I don't think Corey intentionally did. Corey got loose and chased it up a little bit, but Blaney was tight on him at times, and it's just how it is. I mean, I joked around with Freddie because Bubba passed Buescher one time, and he went down into 3 and just kept coming up, and he had position on him, and he just washed him up until Chris had to lift a little bit, and that's it. And we made a few passes like that ourselves. If you don't, the guy's gonna hang there, and then you're gonna go side by side on the straightaway. And we did this with the 2. We were way faster than the 2. We get beside him, and he side drafts us all the way to the bottom of the front stretch. We go through 1 and 2 side by side. Here comes the 11, gets 2 spots for nothing. And it's just tough racing. But you got to be – the guys that end up in the front more are guys that figure out how not to be side by side for that whole lap or half a lap. They know how to time their passes, get your run, get the side draft, get the clear, and you're going. But some of these guys – they think they're racing super hard, but your net loss is 1 or 2 positions worse because you raced so hard.
Yeah.
Martin Truex Jr. says it didn't feel right to not come back and keep doing what we're doing after announcing he will return to the Cup Series in 2024. TJ, spot on, spot off.
Spot off, right?
Yeah, I'm spot off.
Yeah,
spot on for Martin. I mean, how about the way he did it? He just casually, oh, yeah.
Same thing he did last year.
Yeah, I'm coming back.
Sent out a fax or whatever, I'm coming back.
There's no – that's a total Martin way to handle that. But, Martin's having fun. He's obviously fast, and I don't know why you'd – I mean, it's so hard to quit when you're having fun at what you do. And if you're winning races, you don't want to quit spotting or driving or working on that car.
If you would have told me he was going to quit last year, I'd have believed you, because last year was probably a miserable season for him. This year – why would you ever walk away now? Not only
stupid fast.
Not only are you stupid fast, you're winning races, but
leading everything.
Yeah, you're
leading the regular season. You're going to be leading the playoff points. And you almost stamped your ticket to Phoenix.
And they obviously want him back. So you're talking about he's going to get a lucrative deal. If he walked away, you're going to just sit there. On top of being dominant, the most dominant car in the sport right now, probably, you're just going to leave millions of dollars sitting on the table because of what? You're not
trophies,
no decline. Yeah,
I mean trophies, championships. You're leaving that all, and he's having too much fun right now.
Well, there's one thing too. Probably since Mark Martin had the Viagra sponsorship, we've probably not had a better driver sponsor partnership. Martin Truex loves to hunt. He loves to fish. He gets to be buddies with Johnny Mars.
Yeah.
He gets freaking gift cards to Bass Pro Shop. This guy's on top of the world right now.
Anybody's going to catch that reference you just made?
I'm going to tell you what. If Bass Pro Shops are them left,
now that you said it.
Hey, it'd be a tough pill to swallow if they left, wouldn't it?
It'd be a hard situation to deal with.
You guys are the worst.
Hopefully not for more than 4 hours.
Hey, just so you know, Michigan's is a long, wide pit road. So.
Did you see that pit road at the street course?
What are we talking about?
Nashville? The Nashville Indy Street Course pit road? I don't know what you call it. That's a problem. You've got an issue.
Medical emergency.
That's a medical emergency of some sort. Did you see this pit road? Yeah, that's
noted for all the Indy guys.
There's the that's a long one.
You're gonna need a splint.
You need like a popsicle stick. Anyway.
Well,
welcome back, Martin.
And we miss you, Mark Martin.
We do miss you, Mark Martin. You're a hard-nosed competitor.
Even when you were blue in the face.
Back to Roval.
Look at my next note. It says hard racing.
Yup. Figured.
He was hard to beat. Literally hard to beat him when he was running good.
Oh, please stop. Spot on, spot off, guys.
Brad.
Cup cars will test on the Indy Roval Monday following this
Roval?
weekend's.
I think it's oval.
Oval.
Oh, whoops.
I think the Roval's
I'm
in
just thinking
Charlotte.
Charlotte, guys. Cup cars will test on the Indy Oval on Monday following the Indy Road Course race, and I can't imagine how long that pit road will be. Spot on, spot off, Brett.
So I'm going to make this statement. And I'm curious where you guys
scared.
land and
Yeah,
gals.
should I get up?
We have two beautiful gals in here with us. Three. Counting Casey. I'm sorry, Casey. I can't see you. I forget you're over there. I
Is that
feel
a fat
like
joke?
I feel like the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in general has lost its identity on the NASCAR schedule. I feel like this was a marquee race for so many years, and when we left the oval because of attendance, I get it, and went to the road course, I thought it was great year one, and then it was like, man, it ain't great no more. So last year when we heard that they were going back to the oval to celebrate 30 years at the Brickyard, I'm already excited for that. Listen, Nutrient Ag Solutions is sponsoring AJ Allmendinger this weekend. I hope he goes in, wins the race, locks himself in the playoff. And I've won there with AJ Allmendinger, by the way, spotting with him at the road course back in the day, a couple of years ago. But it's not like winning at the Oval. It's the kissing those bricks. It's not like kissing them when Dale Jarrett kissed them or Jeff Gordon kissed them. So I'm all for this.
You heard that in Chase Briscoe won I think the first Xfinity race
did,
there.
road course. Yep.
And he won, and he is an Indiana guy. He's an Indiana kid. That's where he grew up. Local sprint car racer there. That's the ranks he took to get to where he's at. And he made the comment that day or in an interview after the race that night that, it's awesome to win here, but I wish it was the oval. I wish that, so that just shows you. And these drivers used to consider this a crown jewel. Now it's just another road course race that we talk about chaos in turn one. It's almost a gimmick now because you're basically just hoping to survive turn one and then see where you fall out and continue on. So, I'm glad to see that. Hopefully this is the case. We've heard the same thing, 30th anniversary going back. Now you see we're going to test there. So it kind of lends more validity to that rumor. Hopefully it's great. We've never had a great race there. These cars are really not built for what we do. I'm sorry, this track is not really built for what we do. But, hopefully this car can be better. And, I just think that if we're going to run at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, it has to be on the oval of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Yeah, I think the oval, even if you, we're not slingshotting by it or like the Indy cars are and stuff, it's still a very tough race to win. And it's still it's obviously not the Daytona 500, but it's still Indianapolis. When you win on the big track, it's still tough to do. I mean, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, it's going to be next year, if we go there and race, it's going to be hard to win that oval race. And it's going to take somebody that you're going to have to execute all day. Your car is going to have to be really good. There's going to it's still going to be, guys are going to have to bust their asses to do good there and to win that race. So I do think we need to be on the big track. I think the road course was something to try, but I'm happy to hear that they're testing the big track.
I love Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I love going to Indianapolis, Indiana. I think this track is pristine. I think Roger has done a phenomenal job with making it great.
So nice.
It's also very confusing to me because we go and we watch the Indy 500 on television, and it's freaking 400,000 people. Those same drivers are going back to run a road course with us this weekend, and there won't be anybody there to watch them. So, the fans in that area clearly don't have a massive affinity for the drivers. Otherwise, it'd be the same crowd, right? So it's confusing to me on how do we take and make our 30th anniversary event more like the Indy 500 from a fan perspective, because the on-track product is the on-track product, right? But when you look at it as, all right, these drivers, it'd be like Luke Combs sells out Bank of America Stadium, and the next month he comes back and there's 400 people there.
Yeah.
That's that. I mean, I know it's not apples to apples, but when I'm sitting here looking at this from a marketing promoter perspective, I'm like, what are we missing? Because we know we can sell the tickets. We got to do it.
Yeah. And moving to more recent history here, or future, this race this weekend, I'm looking forward to it just for the fact of the names that are going to be in this race that are from the outside of our little NASCAR realm. I mean, SVG's coming back. Kamui Kobayashi is going to be in a third 2311 car. Jensen Button, I think, is coming back for Rick Ware. That Brody Kostecki, who, well, from what I'm told, regularly beats Van Gisbergen in the supercars. And then Rockefeller is now going to be in the 42, who's a stud in the Trans Am, or I shouldn't say Trans Am,
prototype cars or whatever. Yeah.
Multi-time Le Mans winner. So just that'll be very interesting to watch. That group of guys, and there's going to be the one thing I really want to watch is that SVG and Kostecki battle, because it's like these two guys race each other every week over there, and now they're coming here to race against us. Like that's going to be like a little race within a race. So I think there's going to be a lot of interesting stuff, and just to see how they navigate. Listen, the street course was a street course, and we talked about. I know you guys talked about this last week. That was just a perfect scenario for SVG to come in and kick our asses.
Yeah.
And listening to Danny's podcast, he's talking about like just one section of the racetrack. He basically kicked everybody's ass, So it's going to be interesting to see how these guys who aren't really accustomed to making contact and, all the sports car world and open wheel world and whatnot, like they don't run into each other. They have different rules than we have. When they get down here to turn one on lap one, they're not going to know what the hit them.
No.
So, it's going to be interesting to see how they relate. I'm kind of with you guys.
He's running is he running the truck race?
SVG is running the truck race in a niche truck.
I'm interested in seeing that because that's. And honestly, I'm glad he's coming over on it because that's a fun racetrack.
Yeah, and he has some dirt oval background, so
he'll figure it out. I think
he'll be all right. He's not going to go out. He's not going to win the race. Just like I don't think he has any chance of winning the Cup race. I think he could be a top 10 to 15 car, maybe. I just don't I don't see him coming in and kicking our ass like he did at Chicago.
It's not going to be Chicago.
It's not going to be wet.
No.
So there's your first challenge. But if I'm NASCAR, this is the ideal time to announce that in 2024 or 2025, we're going international because we have all these international stars coming in. Freaking go to Australia and race. Go somewhere and run a race other than America.
Sign me up for that.
Hey, that's a 10-hour flight to Hawaii, then a 10-hour flight to Australia at least.
Yeah, we got to go for 3 weeks.
I'm fine with it.
Sign me up.
And you don't want to go for that long. I did that, and you're ready to come back.
Really?
Yes.
All right, we'll just go for 2 weeks.
That's fine.
We'll just stop in Hawaii for a week.
Our international pill has never been higher than it is right now.
Let's run one oval and one road course over there.
When?
Cool. I don't even know if they have an oval over there.
We'll build one. We can build one.
All right.
We just did it in L.A.
Sounds good. Where you
We
building?
did it in Chicago.
They got to have a stadium somewhere.
They play soccer.
They have dirt tracks.
Rugby. Or no, they play cricket.
Cricket?
Is that what they play?
Yeah, I'm sure they play
Rugby.
Rugby. Done. Moving on. Brad Keselowski says
Cricket. What the is cricket? Is that little game with a stick?
That took you really long.
That was really delayed.
That ain't relative to no big sport. Talking about cricket.
Whoa.
It's big
I
over
think
there,
it's
bud.
big over
Huge
there.
over there.
I think it's way bigger than what
It's
you
their
think.
baseball.
God, it must be. It is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You might just be what an idiot.
Cricket.
Right
Cricket.
Damn.
here. Educate yourself. Before
What about grasshopper? They play grasshopper?
I'm sure they hop on the grass while they play cricket.
Sorry, Casey. Cricket.
By all means.
Learn something every day.
Brad Keselowski.
So cricket?
I don't know what cricket even is. I'm Googling it.
Grasshopper is when you're playing cricket and you're drunk, by the way.
I'm down. Cricket wireless?
Yep, that's it.
That is
That's
exactly it.
the first thing that came up.
Well, you're also probably being catered to ads in the United States right here because your location's set for the United States.
Oh, all you Australians out there, I'm sorry if I offended you making fun of cricket.
It's probably
I think during COVID, John was betting on cricket because he was
Be
so bored.
ready
There
to
was
be
no
blocked.
sports over here.
If you're Australian, be ready to be blocked.
All right, Casey, keep rolling while Brett Googles.
Spot on, spot on.
1.6
for
billion
Brad
people saw
Keselowski.
The World Cup.
What did you
World Cup.
say?
1.6 billion global audience for cricket World
What?
Cup
Holy
2019, according to Google.
You might just want to shut the hell up.
Wow.
They didn't play that in Pageland.
This next reaction theater next week is going to be all.
It's going to be all cricket players.
We took crickets and we put them on a hook in Paisley and threw them into a pond.
Casey, do you want to go? You want to?
I mean,
I'm
Casey, can we
good.
move on yet?
We're
Jesus.
good. We're good. Brad Keselowski says they are letting the results speak for themselves after RFK and Chris Buescher pull off back-to-back wins in the Cup Series. Now, do you guys think Ford or RFK is the best Ford out there right now? Spot on, spot off.
Go ahead, TJ. What do you want?
I mean, we've had a couple good weeks. We've had a strong month, honestly. Brad's been strong at pretty much everywhere. Has been up in the top 10 a lot. I don't know. I mean, we've had the most consistency out of the last month.
Yeah, I think that Brad has by far recently been the most consistent Ford on the racetrack. And moving forward, I think that if you'd ask me, if you said if you're going to put all the Fords in the finale at Phoenix, I would probably take maybe a Blaney or a Harvick to be a slight favorite over Brad. But to get to the race in Phoenix, I think Brad's the most consistent of the group to maybe be able to point his way in. And there's races in there that Brad could easily win, like these short track, Martinsville and Bristol, Talladega for sure. I still need to see more out of the Fords on mile and a halves is my only question, because I think that is their biggest struggle point. And after the first round, the next two rounds each have 2 mile and a half racetracks in it. And I'm talking the cookie cutter mile and a halves, the Kansas, the Vegas, places like that, Texas. Homestead, not such a cookie cutter, but still so if you're going to make it to that final race, you have to perform on these mile and a halves. And that's the only place the Fords have been lacking. I mean, Blaney went out and kicked everybody's ass at Charlotte, but that's one of the places you go back and look at. Their finishes haven't been as strong as the short tracks and the super speedways.
What if I told you, how many Ford drivers do you think have won so far this year?
I would say 3.
3 is accurate. Only 3 guys. So I think it's pretty easy to be the best Ford driver right now because they're not winning races. Stewart-Haas, 0 wins. Obviously, Keselowski, 0 wins. Chris Buescher, 2 wins. Joey Logano's got 1. Ryan Blaney's got 1.
Yeah.
And he's getting hot at the right time.
This is definitely the right time to start finding your groove. So
going into 3 races that really don't matter. I mean, I hate to say they don't matter, but you're going to have a Roval road course in there, right, for in the playoffs. But I mean, he's getting hot at the right time on these ovals. Short track, he won at Richmond, and he turns around and wins 2-mile racetrack the following week.
I just think it's
impressive.
The most impressive part to this to me is just even being in that conversation at this point.
He just still looks like, and listen, all these guys have swag. They all have a persona. Buescher just walks around looking like a normal dude to me.
So
that's because he got up and fed his chickens this morning.
I mean, he's just a normal dude.
Buescher's the guy that I always use as an example of something when people talk to me about Bubba getting booed or Denny getting booed, because I always say I'd rather be Bubba and Denny than I would be Chris Buescher, because he's so unassuming that when they, Chris, now maybe it's going to change now because the guys won back-to-back races, but all year, they intro Bubba and the place goes nuts booing, and they introduce Chase and the place goes nuts cheering, and Denny back to boos. When they introduce Chris Buescher, it's silent. There's no reaction one way or another. So when you hear these drivers say, I just want to hear you make noise, that's because they want to know that they're having some kind of impact on the fans. Hopefully now, moving forward, people can appreciate, as unassuming as he is, that Chris is a super talented race car driver.
Xfinity Series champion. 2 race wins in one season is not easy. Back-to-back is even harder.
Well, 2 consecutive seasons in a row now.
I mean, that's big.
And you talk about the impact that Brad has had on that place since he's gone over there with his group of people. I saw a stat on Reddit yesterday, and I didn't fact-check it, so if it's wrong, go ahead and blame the folks on NASCAR Reddit. RFK has led more laps in 22 and 23 than Roush Fenway Racing led from 2014 to 2021.
Wow.
That's 8 seasons versus 2 seasons.
It's hard to believe they've been that irrelevant for that long, but in reality, they have.
Yeah, I mean that's 8 seasons where it took Roush Fenway about the same 8 seasons to lead about the same amount of laps as they have since they've won to RFK in the last 2 years.
Wow! Shout out to Keselowski for that.
I'm telling you that the guy doesn't know how to lose, and he's going to keep going to that place until he makes a champion out of of the place. So, as a driver or an owner, he's going to keep his foot in it until he can get that. So
he's clearly doing something right.
Yeah.
So are you, Casey. You're hanging out with us. All right, listen up, everybody. I know you're probably putting together, just like me and Freddie are, vacation plans because we love to get away when we can. We also love a good tailgate at a racetrack, at a football game. So if you're looking to upgrade some things around the house or just looking to go have some fun, our friends at Moneyline can help.
Yeah, our new sponsor, Moneyline, the all-in-one mobile finance app, has been part of the racing community for years and is dedicated to helping people like you take control of your money and make good things happen. With Moneyline, you can earn, borrow, save, invest. With Moneyline, you can borrow, save, invest, and earn money all in one place, Brett.
The coolest part about it is, man, it's super easy. You go download the Moneyline app. You use the code $DirtyMo, $DirtyMo for a free $55 code.
Do you already have the Moneyline app? Great. Make sure you follow them on social media because they're looking to hook race fans up with opportunities to win some really great stuff, including cash giveaways, exclusive on-track experiences, and custom rewards like next-level grills for your tailgates.
It's really easy. Just download the Moneyline app today and use the code $DirtyMo. That's $DirtyMo. Make sure you set up direct deposit to earn up to $55.
Let's move on to the DBCA main, and it is one of the biggest weeks in dirt racing with the Knoxville Nationals. And as of earlier, we're at 106 cars entered.
How many?
Huge.
You got any friends with planes?
106.
Can we get Chad Boat's plane to fly tonight?
Yeah.
I don't even have nothing. I'm going to shut my mouth. We do not have a plane.
Think Marcus will let us go to promote Nashville?
Can we go, please? Take me.
I've always wanted to go to Knoxville Nationals.
I have too. Not the truck race, please.
I am going to go at some point. I was going to go this year. I was going to go from Michigan to Knoxville. Then I didn't really clue Megan in on that, so she might be a little upset when she hears this.
No, it's
but
fine.
We talked about it. I went up
to
Indianapolis to see a couple buddies earlier in the year, and we kind of laid it out that we can do that, and then I could probably fly back and forth with Kyle or whoever's going back and forth. I'm sure Ricky. This event is just ridiculous.
How do we get a camper and how do we get a camping spot?
We just have to pay somebody.
I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, that's not going to be easy.
I'd like to go, but I don't want to camp with you.
You don't want to camp?
I don't want to sleep in the same bed as Brad or anything.
Why not? We just talked about
here's
last
the deal.
week.
Here's the good news for you. You can go to bed because we won't be back until you get up. So
that's probably right. I'll be getting up and you'll be going to bed.
Like
you make breakfast. You make breakfast.
I'll get up and y'all go to bed.
Yeah. We would be at Dingus probably for most of the night.
Everyone who was there yesterday or is in Knoxville this week is probably just now getting up.
Yeah, I seen some tweets this morning at 6 a.m. from the Frolic that they were still going this morning.
Oh, how about the finish over the 360 Nationals, one of them races?
Whew, that was insane. Brian Brown is a guy that I got to know a little bit. Just their Wikipedia was doing like these Midget Mondays on Twitter Spaces during COVID. When
we popped into one. He was in there.
Yeah. And we talked to Brian about because he was getting ready to run, or he was talking about running Knoxville maybe or something in a KBM truck. So we were going back and forth with him in there. So it was awesome to see him win that race the other night with Larson, the Ironman 55.
Yeah, that was good.
That's like one of my favorite races to watch of the year. And it's like the move he made, the battle with Schuchart at the end there was ridiculous. They traded the lead 3 or 4 times in the last couple laps.
It's amazing. Those cars are obviously a handful to drive. That small of a track, that high bank, and the show that they can put on is pretty incredible.
Well, 2 things that were incredible. Kyle Larson at that dirt track last week was freaking insane. I mean, he looked like he had nitrous when he was passing those people. And then cool to see Jonathan Davenport get to go run SRX.
Is he going?
Yeah.
What, is he running
Eldora.
this week? Eldora?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, it'll be a big deal.
I know I'll be watching between Knoxville Nationals and the Extreme Outlaws out racing. Dirt Vision will be the place to be watching from. And then, of course, we'll be on starting Wednesday, so don't want to miss it. Let's move on to Reaction Theater.
I've been excited about this.
Me too. I can't wait.
I hope the Blaney
Please
guy,
tell me he called.
Please tell me the Blaney guy.
So
called.
I looked for the specific Blaney caller, like the phone number, and he didn't call in. But just wait until you hear.
We'll bear with you.
Yeah, it's worth it.
Man, long-time listener, first-time caller. Jared D. Allen, what the hell is wrong with you? The man's name is Shane Van Gisbergen. Sound it the out! It's not that hard to pronounce. Shane Van Gisbergen? That's what you say every time you reference this poor f***ing man. It's not that hard. Sound it out. Gisbergen!
Are we getting Jared Allen hate on DBC? That is fantastic. You know Jared?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He. That's awesome. I was Jared's PR guy at Stafford. All of a sudden, Austin Payton handed me a bunch of Jared Allen hero cards, and we were throwing them out in the crowd.
Is that the night? Is that also the night you were telling people you were me in the beer line?
So the guy said, TJ. I say, what's up, man? How you doing?
Same.
That's awesome.
It's so hot in here.
It is warm.
Hey, I'm breaking protocol here because I'm calling to react to the episode I just heard, episode 301. Now, I've been meaning to bring this up for years. I think it comes from TJ kissing Dale Jr.'s ass forever, but this smacking noise that he makes before he starts a sentence every single time he starts to talk drives me crazy. Then on episode 301, Carson's in there and he does the same thing.
Who?
What the?
Oh, host of our.
Spit the gum out.
I went back to Carson Ellett.
I thought I was like, Carson wasn't on 301.
I know.
Neither one of them had gum.
Damn, TJ, stop smacking your lips.
There needs to be a, what are those things called? A GIF or meme? TJ just doing what he's doing. With
I don't ever hear it. So
making that noise.
Do you hear it?
Yes.
You hear it? You do?
Yes, every time.
I'm probably going to now.
I try and
because
cut it out.
somebody
Now I'm
brought
gonna
it
be
up.
like,
Well-
let me slowly open my. Well,
Sound like Ward.
Or when you clear your throat.
Freddie, I don't smack my lips.
This next one is a combination of a few different callers.
Oh boy.
So kind they are.
So with Blaney's good run today, I think it's time for the Blaney fans to hop on out of the tub and let us Briscoe fans go in there. It's been a long, hard season. I'm just sick of it. Yeah, it's our time in the tub.
Hello, this is a message to all the Blaney fans. Can the Chase Elliott fans join you in the bathtub? No, I agree that it is probably going to need to be a bigger bathtub, but we will supply the beer if you can supply the bathtub. Thank you.
Well, as a Tyler Reddick fan, we'd like to be drinking in a bathtub, but the rear tire changers probably f***ed that up too. What a f***ing disgrace. That motherfucker should be working at Waffle House on Tuesday.
I know who this is. I know who that was.
Listen,
for sure.
we're going to need a pool at this point. The bathtub
Yeah, the
is not big
bathtub
enough
is
for all you
overflow.
miserable motherfuckers because your driver's having a bath.
And we ain't talking. We're not talking like pool behind your house. We need like the YMCA pool.
Yeah, we need a big pool. No peeing in the pool either, people.
We might just need a lake. Might need a lake.
You think Chase is? I mean, we're gonna have to say Chase is must win now. I'm assuming
He's must win.
Oh yeah, I mean,
He was on
himself
the-
said it.
He said it
yeah.
after the infield care.
I mean,
What-
it's not. What's he at? I don't remember.
well, Denny said Chase is gonna make it in, but he must mean by winning a road course.
He's not on our list. He's got to be about 50 or 60 out. Listen, it's not fucking impossible, but it's gonna be hard.
Dude, he was 40 out before he DNF'd. Like,
and I thought he was.
last
I thought he was gonna make that up easily. I thought he would have
So-
easily made that up.
He's got to be at least.
He's got to be about 50 out because
Oh, I'd say
McDowell only finished like
Minus
mid-20s.
55.
Minus 55.
He's not going
bad.
to jump that many people.
No way.
That's the problem. If he was minus 55 off of one person, he can make that up. But
Yeah, that ain't
it's too many
If he-
people.
So is there a strategy for
Win.
Well, for Hendrick, meaning Hendrick in general. With
No, they'll help. Well, they can't. I mean, they'll try to help him at the plate race.
Oh, yeah.
But what are they going to do with Bowman? They got to help both of them. So it's just,
I mean,
that's going to be the biggest
Listen,
thing.
Bowman was really fast this past weekend.
He had me worried.
I thought he and Truex were the two fastest cars, and it's a shame he got in that wreck. It looked like Cindric was 3 wide, squeezed somebody, and then all hell broke loose. I think that was the wreck he got in.
Your fans think you're Santa Claus and Jesus, so I'm just gonna wish you now a merry off-season and happy Christmas. I guess you didn't make the script. Merry off-season and happy Christmas. Yeah, you're still a f***ing bitch. Yeah, you're still a little bitch. Chase Elliott.
Okay, two things. I didn't know Tracy Lawrence could play piano.
Was that Jeb?
That was Jeb.
Yeah.
They sounded just like Tracy Lawrence.
Great.
Jeb always
We've
does.
never had a piano on here.
No.
That was the
Jeb's
first.
branching out.
Yeah, that was pretty good, Jeb. I mean, the piano part.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
What'll be
that's
next? What'll be the next instrument?
a Blaney
we'll
if
hear.
you know.
Cowbell?
No,
More cowbell?
no.
Harmonica.
What's that movie?
Oh, harmonica would be good.
No, what's that movie?
Oh God.
It's not a clarinet.
Saxophone?
No, it's not a saxophone.
Flute.
That one time at band camp.
But
That one.
That's a
Half the kids in here haven't seen that movie.
Moving on to Ask DBC, you can also send in your question using hashtag AskDBC. This first one is from Woodrow. How far can Chris Buescher make it in the playoffs? What do you guys think?
I mean, if he keeps winning, he can go pretty far.
Yeah, if he listen, he has not been as consistent as Brad has. You know, he's kind of a little bit more feast or famine. It's kind of either top 5 or mid-teens, I think, for him. I could see him. You know, listen, that first round is basically don't screw up. You know, if you see so many guys make mistakes in that first round and get knocked out. So if you can just get through there clean, that you're going to make it to the next round. That's when the difficulty ramps up, and you know I could see him maybe squeaking into the round of 8. I don't see him going much further than that.
Let me ask you this: where is he in the regular season standings?
I think 11th or 12th.
So he's not getting any bonus points by being a top 10 guy.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, it might change.
Oh, it's right here. Oh no, you're right.
No.
No, he is.
He's-
That's playoff standings. It's
Yeah,
very confusing.
I looked at it last night.
8th in the
Yeah.
points.
8th in
Oh, so he's
driver
8th in
points?
points.
I believe
Yes.
in driver points.
So he's sitting on 3 more playoff
Where's
points.
Brad in driver points? He's like right there
He's
too,
like-
He
right?
is.
9th?
I mean, that's the big disadvantage to the.
Buescher is 11th in driver points. Brad is
13th.
Brad is 8th.
Yeah.
Oh.
If we had a win, if Brad had a win, we would be sitting very good.
Hold
Oh,
on.
I'm looking at playoff points, maybe.
You're looking at the playoff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the problem for fans. It's
yeah,
really confusing.
NASCAR.com's all over the place.
Yeah.
It's confusing. It's hard.
Yeah, so Buescher's 11th. Brad's 8th. Which, damn, you're 8th?
Yeah.
Consistency.
Oh, it's tight right there. That's why. Because I was going
Yeah.
to say, you were right in front of us 2 weeks ago.
Where are you at?
I'm 13th or 14th now. 14th. Yeah.
Hypothetically, this one is from Ben. If you guys were not in racing, what other career would you like to be in?
So I I pissed my mom off a long time ago.
Oh, imagine that.
Believe it or not, she's very disappointed in me as usual. You
were gonna play the flute.
It's funny because I was just having this conversation with Marcus Smith, but everybody from where I'm from is in some union of some sort, whether it's a laborer in the city building skyscrapers or the railroad union, whatever it was. So that's kind of like the path majority of the people on Long Island take. And I had the opportunity to join the Long Island Railroad as, you know, I don't even know what the hell it was going to be, conductor or something. And I turned it down because it meant that I was going to have to work on weekends, and I was not willing to not go to the racetrack. I was probably 18 to 20 years old. And I thought at the time my mother was going to kill me. And she probably was right. And to this day, she probably still was right that I should have done that because I'd be retired by now with a nice big pension. But
an idiot.
Yeah. But I said to chose to chase racing dreams and make those come true. But if I didn't have the racing, I'd probably be working on the Long Island Railroad right now.
Interesting. TJ.
Boy, I'm not even sure where I would be because racing's been my life the entire time. I would say the love I've had for like sports and football, maybe something along them lines or something.
You definitely look like a wide receiver in the NFL.
Yeah, you know. Hey, how about that running back for the Falcons? You
What'd he
seen
do?
him? Have you
Did he
seen
go
it?
to band camp?
Look up. I'm telling you.
Is he in the band?
This dude's like 5'4" or something.
Really?
Yeah, he's tiny. Looks like It
You
literally
never
looks
see
like
him behind the
Spud
offensive line.
Webb.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you would never see this guy, but not obviously not playing the sport.
Well, my first love in my life was dancing.
Clogging.
And I did hip hop. So my goal was to be a backup dancer for Janet Jackson. It didn't work
Janet
out.
Have I
Freddie
told that
Jackson.
story on here?
I don't think you have.
So we're in Loudon. Me and Brett stood next to each other in Loudon, and this is going back years ago. Bubba was running Xfinity, and where we were going to Chicago.
We were in
or
practice
somewhere. It's
yeah.
practice. We're going to Chicago next week, and Brett gets on his phone and he starts slapping me in the arm. He's like, "Yo, Janet Jackson's in Chicago next week. When we're there, we got to go." And I said, I don't care about Janet Jackson. Like, what the hell? He's like, Janet Jackson? You talking about Janet Jackson? And now he starts screaming at me for the next 10 minutes about Janet Jackson. Well, at the same time, Bubba is going to come out of the garage to make a run and practice. So Numbnuts is over here screaming at me about Janet Jackson, and Bubba's coming out of the garage, so I just key up. I go, all right, our hole is over here behind so-and-so. All right, you can roll, take off, go ahead. And when I unkey the button, Bubba goes, who is talking about Janet Jackson up there? Because he just hears Britt in the background as I'm keyed up going, Janet fucking Jackson! Janet Jackson! You don't want to go see Janet Jackson? So it went on for
I love Janet Jackson.
Bubba could hear it. It was so now that's how I know but Brett's love for Janet Jackson.
I was
is
wrong,
real.
Brett. It wasn't the Falcons. It's your team.
Oh.
Watch
The
this.
Cox?
Look at it. Look.
Cowboys got that little bitty guy.
Look at that.
He's going to get killed. He's an
Looks
eighth
like
grader out
Bodie.
there.
5'5".
Wow.
He looks like Bodie.
What about you, Casey? I'd love to know what your
Well, I'd like to know,
skill set is.
Are there,
Yeah. What
there
is your skill
videos
set?
of you dancing?
Oh,
Yeah,
1,000
tons.
of them.
Please
Yeah.
share. This
I've
is-
taught Bodie how to clog since he's been homesick for 2 weeks.
Oh.
So he's now going to be my little clogging buddy. What about you? Something in fashion?
I actually danced growing up too. Do I
Oh.
look like I'm in fashion?
Oh.
No. Where do I go?
What kind of dancer are you going to be?
Yeah, that's next.
I did hip hop as well. So
Nice.
yeah.
So
you
that
going to do
was-
the Bugs Bunny for me after this?
What was the career path, do you think? Like, well, I know Brett said he wanted to dance Janet
I
Jackson.
don't
Did
know
you
what
want to
my
go
parents.
scores?
Spearmint Rhino.
I'm not really sure what my my goals in life were.
Scores.
By dancing my entire life. I'm glad that I made it to where I am today. Let's just say that.
Good work.
Let's move on to what an idiot.
All right, listen. I have something proposed to everybody here. I'm going to put it on the table and we can vote on it.
Okay.
Can
we vote?
We can vote. We can vote. We actually vote twice.
Okay.
If you like. I vote. We have never done this in previous years. I suggest in the first time in DBC history, we have a unanimous what an idiot.
Idiots.
Idiots. And I propose that the 4 idiots that did not vote for Jimmy Johnson, not once, but twice on their ballot, they win our first ever unanimous What an Idiot Award.
How ironic it's unanimous.
Is everybody?
Here's my favorite. Here's my favorite part of this whole thing, though, Freddie, and I agree with you, obviously. Denny Hamlin and others have spoke out and said they should be kicked off the panel. What if one of them is Richard Petty? What if Richard Petty didn't want Jimmy Johnson to be a unanimous Hall of Famer? For whatever reason. Maybe he doesn't respect how he won his championships. Maybe he doesn't love him right now because he was forced out of Legacy Motor Club. Let's just throw this out there. Like, what if it's Richard Petty? Are we still going to say he can't vote anymore?
No.
Just throwing that out there.
But that's the only thing that makes sense to me is there's the 4 people that didn't vote for him. I wish to God we could figure out who they are. But you can't.
Somebody knows because you have to write your name and you have to sign this thing. And Steve Phelps and Ben Kennedy and others of that nature.
So there has to be some kind of an axe to grind, right? Because that's the only way you would not, I think that, is this true that the previous year's champion gets a vote? I think so. I read that.
Yeah.
So did Joey get wrecked by Jimmy somewhere? And he said, you know what? Like, I'm going to screw this guy out of his unanimous vote. And it just turned out 3 other people did as also. But the thing that gets me, like, if you only had one vote, say, and you're a huge Harry Gant fan.
You're not supposed to be a fan in
You're
this
not
vote,
supposed-
though.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, in your mind, like, if you, or not say, I shouldn't say fan, if you're just determined, you think Harry Gant should be the next guy in the Hall of Fame, That's my vote. Okay, that's great. But you still got another vote.
You still got a second vote.
So not only did you pass up on Jimmy Johnson, but you passed up on him twice.
And I'm going to tell you, and people are going to disagree with me, I would not have voted Chad Knaus in on the first ballot.
I agree with you.
Because I think that he's done a lot less for the sport than guys like Ricky Rudd have. I mean, again, I can tell my reasoning as to why I wouldn't vote him in. Now, do I think he was the third or fourth best guy on the ballot? Yeah, I do. Do I think he's ahead of Larry Phillips and some of the other guys are on the ballot? Absolutely. But he's not going to be my first ballot guy. Jimmy Johnson is going to be a first ballot guy every single time. You cannot rationalize to me why he's not a first ballot unanimous Hall of Fame pick. He won more races. He won as many races in 1 year as Clint Boyer, Sterling Marlin, Donnie Allison. He won 10 races. They won 10 their entire career. And one of them went in the Hall of Fame. And there's a good chance more may. But I don't know, man. The credentials here are insane to have. He won 7 championships, 5 in a row, 83 races, ranked 6th all-time on the win list. How are you not the guy?
You're never. There's no argument against it. I said, there's just somebody with an axe to grind, or somebody. You see this all the time. That's like somebody doesn't believe that somebody should be unanimous. So one person, and you feel like going into it, there's always going to be that one person that doesn't conform to what everybody else is doing, and it's idiotic, and that's why you're going to win this year, and this maybe the only time in history that we have a unanimous "what an idiot."
I just don't know why you cannot vote for him and then not have the balls to say,
why
I didn't vote for him and here's why.
Yeah,
because if you can't do that, that's why you don't deserve to be on a panel, in my opinion. But anyway,
all right, I'll go with it.
How'd you like my Richard Petty?
I'm in. I'll give you that. Then you can have my what an idiot.
Unanimous. We get everybody in the room. Everybody in the room agree.
I'm good with it.
Everybody, yep. I got a bunch of nods. So unanimous. Congratulations.
Say aye.
Congratulations to the 4 voters for winning the unanimous What an Idiot award.
All right, now on to the most important part.
You win again?
No, who's picking? Who are you picking? Casey won.
Casey won to my last. I was probably last because I had Byron.
I finished second.
Well, I had a really fast car, but he didn't finish well, so I'll start off with A.J. Allmendinger.
Oh, all right.
But I go first, bud.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you do?
Oh.
Believe it or not, I snuck
You
behind.
finished worse than me.
I believe it or not, I snuck behind you.
How?
But he's already used
AJ, so you're good.
you can have him.
Oh.
I will take. I have been the kiss of death this year for just about everybody. So I will take Michael McDowell.
Oh. All right, then.
A.J. Allmendinger for me again.
Yep. I'll take Shane Van Gisbergen.
Don't that guy's going to call you and chew you out if you don't get his name right.
I know how to say it. The Giz.
The Giz.
Who did he tell you to take, Casey?
What?
Who told you to take
Tyler Reddick?
Got that right. I'm the only one with him left.
Oh, if he wrecks, he's going to blame
So
you.
Tyler told her to take himself.
No, I think it's funny that you pick him. That's good. You're locked into Tyler. I definitely would have saved him for a place where we got speed next week, but good move. He'll probably win.
I was going to take McDowell.
I'm just proud of them doing
because
better
McDowell's
than they did last year.
He's got to perform.
Yeah, he's got to finish good.
Yeah, and he'll drive through somebody to get some
But does
points.
he have to go for points?
Yeah, but there's no stage breaks anymore.
He's going to be all take and no give.
Yeah.
There's no stage breaks to lose your track position.
Turn one. So. CJ said they moved the start-finish line.
No, it's not start-finish line. It's the
restart zone.
Oh, they moved the restart zone.
Yes.
Forward or backward?
Backwards. Back to the corners.
Like in the middle.
So we'll be going even faster when we get down there.
But we should be split up a little bit.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Speed, they just need separation.
Mm-hmm.
Wait till you see where it's at the Roval.
Really? What was wrong with the Roval?
Turn one. Same thing.
But
the reason,
they're coming out of a chicane right there, though.
That's where the restart zone is, in the chicane.
Hell yeah, let's do it.
So it's.
Are we going to be able to skip turn one like we did last year with Denny and Ross?
Stop and go.
I'll let you know.
Stop and go this year, but it's probably still faster. I would hope that they would. What they need to do is build a little obstacle course.
With a jump.
To get with a jump, Joker lane. But no, I'm serious. Like, put some there that they got to go around. They can't just blow through straight, hang a right, and keep digging. Like, make some barriers or something. Slow that down. So I assume, Brett, you're coming to Indy this
am.
week. I heard you're. I got bad news for you, buddy.
What is it?
My birthday is this weekend.
Oh, gosh. Hey, good news is we're going to Indy and we're not being called to the hauler.
Yeah. Last year, I was 21, I think, that I spent my birthday in the NASCAR hauler. But, yeah, looking forward to it. We'll see. I just got my personal goals is get through there clean and hopefully get a good finish and keep our little buffer built up. But what do you got going on out there? Anything?
Man, I got a couple of events out there. But before we cut out of here, shout out to Carson Hosfar coming on last week. I hate you weren't here for that because I needed some help asking him tough questions. You know, TJ can be a hostage negotiator.
I just liked
times.
when you asked Carson questions and TJ answered them. That was my favorite part of the show.
That was your favorite part of the show. Then another shout out to a former DBC guest, Jesse Love. 6 wins on the year.
Yeah. I mean, Jesse, next on stage.
Jesse Love. So
yeah.
with that, I think we got to get out of here.
Good job. One thing I did want to mention, congrats to my buddy Ryan Priest and his wife Heather. They had their baby girl Saturday night,
Nice.
Rebecca. So congrats to them. I got some cool little pictures of her last night.
Saturday night?
I think it was
The
Saturday
night before the race?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Tough deal.
Wow.
So I think it was Saturday. It might have been Sunday night. I can't remember. And then we did get another bottle of the most awful liquor I've ever put in my mouth, that Malort up there from our buddy Michael, he was actually the one, you've probably seen it all weekend. He had a big DBC flag mounted on his bus. And we parked down there in turn 1 for the escape plan, and I just happened to park right in front of his bus. And so he came out. He had a big DBC car I signed for him. And he traded out a bottle of Malort, which he said, enjoy, and I promised him that I would not because nobody in their life has ever enjoyed a sip of that, whatever that is. But, yeah, looking forward. Again, thank you, everybody, for your support last week. We really appreciate it. My family could not believe how much support we got, I said, I don't realize you guys realize we have millions of listeners. And they all came out in droves last week, so I appreciate that. And with that, we're out, and we'll see you this weekend at Indy.
Holla.